Hey, what's up, everybody? I'm here to give you guys a Impact Wrestling All Talk video. I know it's been a while since I've talked about Impact Wrestling, mainly because I have been, like I said, so busy with the holidays and other things that I just haven't had time. I watched some shows last night, and I'm basically gonna just make small videos and edit this all into one big video. So you're seeing this part of the video right now at 2:09 p.m. On January 9th, 2020. Um, and pretty much I'm doing this because they had some like Impact Plus specials in between this, and I kind of want to review those. I'm not going to go through like in detail, move for move, spot for spot, what happened. I'm just pretty much just going to talk about these shows. So yeah, let's just pretty much start doing that. I'm going to start though with reviewing, or giving like some quick thoughts um, on Impact Wrestling from December 3rd, 2019. We had Don Callis and Josh Matthews on commentary for this show. It showed an introduction, showing like a cold open, and Michael Elgin's backstage, and obviously he's upset in a sense that he basically got screwed out of being able to fight Sami Callihan for the Impact World Championship. So he said that he's gonna hurt somebody tonight. So later on, literally the next thing that happens is it led to we had a match between Eddie Edwards and Brian Cage. They were having like a nice back and forth match. Michael Elgin came out and just wrecked the match and just started destroying everybody. And we find out the match turned into a triple threat match, and they actually had an awesome triple threat match. I really enjoyed it. I thought everybody looked good coming out of it. Michael Elgin ended up getting the win. I believe he hit the Elgin bomb onto Eddie Edwards. And I like this. It made Michael Elgin look awesome. And I really enjoyed this. I'm really enjoying Michael Elgin in Impact Wrestling. So I like it. I don't. The only thing I didn't like about this is why they didn't just make this a triple threat match right off the gate. Um, I'm assuming they can utilize this in a future storyline where Brian Cage and Eddie Edwards can challenge each other to a match and say, "Hey, we never found out what the result was, and it's eating them alive inside." Um, but I think a better way of doing this, just to kind of save some time and add something else you wanted to see on the show, is they could have, um, you know, had the match about to start, and then Michael Elgin come out and say, "Hey, I want in this match," and then it's just a triple threat match from the gate. I just think that nice little touch, um, would have gone a long way. But whatever. The Rascals are having like one of their promos. I've talked about this before. I really don't like these. It's supposed to be like a That 70s show type of gimmick, and I just don't really think these really work. They just don't feel organic. They feel mildly scripted, and I just think it makes all these guys look stupid, which really sucks because they're all hell of a wrestlers, but the characters suck. I appreciate them trying to give them some type of character, but this just isn't the character that really works. Pretty much they'll put it over this feud between Trey and Ace Austin, and Ace Austin's been hitting on Trey's mom, and Dez and Wentz also hitting on Trey's mom, and they make a lot of like sexual innuendo jokes about that, which I really didn't enjoy. And we find out she's gonna be ringside, but this just is not good. And they're trying, like I said, they're trying to make it seem like that they're high, but if you watch these interviews, this is like not something that like somebody high would act. So it's really stupid. It led though to a match between the Rascals and Ace Austin and Reno Scum. That match was fairly good. They did a whole distraction angle where Ace Austin was just talking to Trey's mom, and Trey beat him up for it. And later on, it led to one of the Reno Scum pinning, I believe it was Wentz, for the win. And they're trying to get that over, but I guess it is what it is. I guess so. There you go. Moose is outside, and he's at a basketball court, and he's going to show why he's a 5-star athlete. And he basically makes a promise to these two guys that if he makes this shot, he'll buy them all beers, and he does, and he just beats the crap out of them. and it ends with like one of the guys beating the basketball hoop. Awesome stuff. I really love Moose. It's great. Um, then we had some build up for the Impact World Championship match that's going to take place at Hard to Kill between Sami Callihan and Tessa Blanchard. I really enjoyed this a lot. You know, where you know, they had like a face off. I wish they showed the whole thing where it was hosted by Scott D'Amore and Josh Matthews. And Tessa Blanchard's talking about how she's not going to deny any of Sami Callihan's accolades, even though she doesn't agree with the means that he went with to get these accolades. But she said that she's going to make history and become the first ever women's world champion in any company. And Sami Callihan, you know, talks about how this is history in the making, but everyone thinks I just hate Tessa Blanchard because she's a woman and, you know, because of who she is. But I hate Tessa Blanchard because she just got handed everything the second she walked into Impact Wrestling. And she's just a spoiled brat. And, you know, says that she's going to destroy her, and this offends Tessa Blanchard, and she immediately just wants to go right after Sami Callihan, and they have to be separated. I really like this. I actually like that they're giving more of a reason for Sami Callihan to want to beat Tessa Blanchard, other than the fact that, you know, she's a woman. They're actually kind of trying to make this feud really personal. And I'm just going to keep saying it. I'm going to do like a predictions portion of this video later on, but either they should put the championship on Tessa Blanchard. I think it would be great publicity for Impact Wrestling. It would get some nice eyeballs on them. And I think it'd be great. It would get people talking about Impact Wrestling if Tessa Blanchard wins the title. And like I said, it's not like she has to hold the championship for that long. She can easily drop the championship right back to Sami Callihan or another heel in a couple of weeks or something like that. But I really think it'd be really beneficial for Impact Wrestling to put the title on Tessa Blanchard. Joey Ryan's backstage, and Johnny Swinner comes up and basically, you know, wants Joey Ryan to help him beat Petey Williams, and he said he's going to give him a signal, and Joey Ryan agrees to it, but he's really, you know, not paying attention. So later on in the show, when he's facing Petey Williams, he does the hand signal, but Joey Ryan never comes out, and Petey Williams beats him with a sharpshooter and makes him tap out, so they're going to go with that. Really not a fan of that. Not a fan of Joey Ryan. Not a fan of Johnny Swinner. I like Petey Williams. I was disappointed we didn't see a Canadian Destroyer, though, so that was disappointing. Rich Swann gets congratulated on his performance in the elimination chase, and then you know, the North is trying to cause some dissension between Willie Mack and Rich Swann. We find out that there's going to be a tag team, like gauntlet match or whatever it's going to be. And, you know, Rich Swann and Willie Mack are in it. So the North is trying to kind of cause some dissension between Rich Swann and Willie Mack. And it looks like it's kind of working because Willie Mack had like a weird look on his face. So I could see that leading somewhere. I hope they don't do this though, because I actually like the team of Rich Swann and Willie Mack. But if you want, if they want to put Rich Swann in the singles division, I guess that would be all right. Rob Van Dam and Katie Forbes comes out, and Rob Van Dam pretty much explains his action about why he's been doing the things that he's been doing and acting the way he's been acting. And you know, he basically kind of just reiterates it, says that you know, everyone's been trying to, you know, rip off his moves. He set the foundation for everybody. And he said he's just not going to be that guy anymore. Tommy Dreamer came out and was wondering why he's been ignoring him and the recent attitude change. And he challenges RVD on behalf of Rhino to a hardcore match, and where he's the guest referee. RVD refuses, but then Rhino comes out, attacks RVD, and RVD runs off. So there you go. It's going to be that match is happening on the next episode. I'm actually really excited about it. A lot of people may hate this because it's the ECW guys, you know, taking over Impact Wrestling. But I think this is different in this case because, you know, it's nice nostalgia. I think Impact's trying to, you know, appeal to everybody. And this is one way to do that. And it's not like it's... I feel like this is something new because this is actually like a new version of Rob Van Dam. So I'm actually kind of interested in this. Then Fowler Bar's backstage and said that he is going to have a reaction to the Daisy Hip Squad after attacking him in the previous episode. Um, Father James Mitchell and Susie are backstage, and she's basically going to be aligned with him and Havoc. And they're tying this in because they're afraid of her touching Havoc, because obviously last time she touched Havoc, she had like a vision where she remembered that Havoc killed her. So they're trying to keep that going, so that's going to be interesting. I'm kind of interested in that storyline. I don't know where it's going, but I'm intrigued by it right now, so I think that's good. Um, and then it basically just led to the rest of the show. So this was ODB's big return to Impact Wrestling. I don't know the last time she was on Impact Wrestling, because I think she did some appearances when I wasn't watching Impact Wrestling. I know she's been on NWA Power recently, um, and I think this explained why she's been kind of working a lot of wrestling dates recently, because we found out on this show that she had a food truck business and it was thriving, but her food truck ended up burning down. And they were using this show as like ODB Appreciation Night, where they were gonna donate money to get her a new food truck. And I really liked her promo. I thought it was very inspirational. You know, where she talked about how she was upset about it, and it basically ripped her insurance company a new one, which was great. And said that she's gonna get back up and rise up. And I thought it was a pretty damn good promo. It's kind of the type of attitude that you should have when a tragedy like that happens. Just kind of try to move on from it, even though it sucks in the beginning. Um, and I thought that was great. Taya Valkyrie and Johnny Bravo come out, and Taya Valkyrie just kind of utilizes this to get heat. And we could talk about whether or not that was the right thing to do, but I'm just going to assume that ODB was cool with it and just go with it, because it's not like they really utilize it for heat. But basically, she just thinks that she's inferior to ODB, and this leads to a match later. Um, it showed a flashback of when she won the Knockouts Championship from Mickie James, which I kind of like how they utilized that to tie that in there. And she had a backstage segment with Jordynne Grace where she donated to a fund and wished her luck. And later on in the show, in the main event, ODB fought Taya Valkyrie. And when Taya Valkyrie was on the verge of winning, Jordynne Grace came out and provided a distraction, allowing ODB to roll up and get a win. And ODB ended up beating Taya Valkyrie. And I was fine with that. You're bringing back ODB. You want to put her back in a big way. And this is like a tribute show to ODB, so I thought it was the right thing to do. And there was a reason for this, because now at Impact Hard to Kill, it was supposed to be Jordynne Grace challenging Taya Valkyrie for the title in a one-on-one match. But now, because of this victory, ODB is now in it, and it's a triple threat match now. So I thought that was a nice way to set that up. And I'll give, like I said, when I get to that part of the video, I'll do a predictions portion of it. But I'm excited about this. I'm excited to see ODB back in Impact Wrestling, which is kind of interesting because he's in both Impact Wrestling and NWA Power, so I think that's pretty damn cool. So I like it. And that was Impact Wrestling pretty much for December 3rd. I thought it was a good, I thought the show was good. I thought it was really good. I really enjoyed. The only stuff I really didn't enjoy was like the Johnny Swinner stuff. The Vasco's Ace Austin feud I'm really not a fan of, but everything else I thought was really good. I'm going to give it like a B, an 85 out of 100. Then we had Impact Explosion for December 7th, 2019. This is basically AEW Dark, Impact's version of AEW Dark main event. More main event. It's commentated by Josh Matthews. It only shows one match where it's Ethan Page versus Cody Deaner. They actually had a solid match. Cody Deaner won with a DDT. I don't know if it's going to set up to anything. I hope it kind of, I don't know what they do with Impact Explosion. But I hope it leads somewhere. So we'll see. They do Around the Ring with Moose, where we get to find out a little bit about Moose's eating habits and breaking into the wrestling business, which is kind of cool. And it shows a match from TNA Final Resolution 2010, the Full Metal Mayhem match between Motor City Machine Guns and Generation Me. I'm not going to really review the match. Just go watch it. I'll review it if we ever do a retro for that match, but just definitely go watch it. Impact Explosion, I don't know how much I'm going to watch of it, but it's not bad. It's not unwatchable like Main Event, so there you go. Then we had No Surrender, which was another Impact Plus special, commentated by Josh Matthews and Scott D'Amore. I really wish they would just permanently put Scott D'Amore in commentary. He's so much better than Don Callis. And I gotta say, this show was so much better than Turning Point. Everyone knows I hated Turning Point. This had much better production quality. The backstage segment you still kind of couldn't hear, but it was so much better then. This had better, production issues with cameras and stuff. You could actually hear stuff going on. This show was so much better. It kicked off with a match with Trey versus Logan James versus Tyler Matrix. It was a, very good match. Just a lot of dives and everyone just kind of getting their stuff in. Trey ended up winning, which obviously makes sense since he's in line for an X Division Championship match. That match was very good. I gave it 3 3/4. Madison Rayne ended up wrestling Rosemary. She cuts a promo saying that since she's the locker room leader, she is an executive. She wants Rosemary fired because she's breaking all the rules, and says that she has a chance if she just lays down for her, and she does, but ends up kicking out, and then Rosemary just destroys her and wins. That was good stuff. I thought I did the job I needed to do. I give it 3 stars. Jeremiah invaded the show, and he cuts this awesome promo about why he should have been on the show, and then he just comes out and immediately gets scored by Rhino and loses, and then it leads to later in the show where it was where Clayton Gaines came out and attacked Rhino. They had like a short little match where Rhino beat him with a gore. Fairly enjoyable. I could have done without the Clayton Gaines Rhino match. I don't really think that was necessary. But I really enjoyed the Jeremiah stuff. But I could have done without the Clayton Gaines Rhino match. But it wasn't bad or anything. All of that, if I'm just going to combine that or just combine that was like 3 1/4 stars. It was enjoyable. Throughout the show, they were building up Larry D. He got interviewed by Jimmy Jacobs. The backstage interviews, like I said, still had some issues. Larry D talked about how he's been wrestling for years and had wanted a big opportunity like this. So he wrestled Michael Elgin, and they had an awesome match. They had a really good match. I shouldn't say an awesome match. And it really showed like Larry D wanted to be in a big stage like this, and Michael Elgin just wanted to just destroy everybody. I really liked how even though Larry D was a veteran, he had showed that he lacked big match experience. But Michael Elgin ended up getting the win. He teases like he's going to show respect to him, but chooses not to. And afterwards, Scott D'Amore comes in and offers him a contract. Yeah, really good stuff. I gave the match 3 1/2 stars. The thing I like the most about it is both people felt like winners coming out of it. Michael Elgin won the match, but because of Larry D's performance, it got him a contract. So I thought, both everyone felt like a winner coming out of the match. So I thought that was awesome. Like him getting the contract meant more than just winning, which I thought was awesome. So I liked what Impact did there. And I feel like Impact did a good enough job of actually telling us who Larry D was and stuff like that. Because I'm not someone I'm new to watching these Impact Plus specials, and I thought that was awesome stuff. I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. to the Impact Knockouts Championship match between Taya Valkyrie with Johnny Bravo defending against Havoc earlier in the show. Taya Valkyrie and Johnny Bravo were upset because Taya Valkyrie had to defend the title when she had already defended it within 30 days. And she said she's going to do it by herself. Really wasn't a fan of this. Basically, Taya Valkyrie gets herself disqualified and Havoc wins but doesn't get the title. And then she just gets destroyed anyways. It's one of those things where they didn't really want to have Havoc lose and they didn't really want to have Taya Valkyrie lose, so why book the match in the first place? If you're going to do this, why not just book a four-way match? Or the tag match that they booked the next night on the Twitch special. I really wasn't a fan of this. I gave it like 2.5 stars. So there you go. And then we had Ace Austin versus Eddie Edwards in a tables match. Ace Austin did a promo building up his feud with Eddie Edwards. I don't know why. It seems like they're kind of going away from this feud because, you know, on Impact, they're not building to this feud. That's Trey. It seems like that this feud should be the feud they go with. I feel like Eddie Edwards should cash in his collar shot, you know, gauntlet trophy on Ace Austin and just beat him for the championship. Because that just seems like the logical direction to go. Mainly because I don't like this Trey feud. So I feel like this would make more sense because it just kind of seems like they're going away from it, and I'm really not a fan of that. But they had a very good tables match. You know, I like the teases going through the table, and I like some of the spots they did, like Eddie Edwards doing the neck breaker on like the table on the legs when it was reversed. I thought that was great stuff, and Eddie Edwards just destroying him. Eventually, Eddie Edwards uses Kenny, his kendo stick, to hit Ace Austin with it, and he falls off the turnbuckle and he goes to the table, and Eddie Edwards wins the tables match. I was fine with this. Eddie Edwards needed to get a win, and I don't think this hurts Ace Austin because he didn't really lose, and the title wasn't on the line, so this made everyone look good. So I thought this was very good stuff. I give it 3 3/4 stars. And now we talk about the biggest story of the show. This show was in Dayton, Ohio, OVE's hometown. And in the beginning of the show, OVE talked about how they were just going to clean sweep everybody. And earlier in the show, the Christs had a triple threat tag match where they faced Rohit Raju and Mahabali Shera and Dez and Wentz. And the Christs beat them, which I was happy about. They won with their tombstone double stomp combination. That match was pretty good. I gave it 3 1/4 stars. And then we had a Haas fight scramble where it was just everyone, big men going at it in the ring. It was Madman Fulton versus Crash Jackson versus Brian Cage versus AC Romero versus Willie Mack. Madman Fulton ended up getting the win, which I was happy about that. That match was just a great match. You really need to go watch it. It's just, you know, it's 5 big men just all going at it. It's a big man fight, so I thought that was very enjoyable. That match was great, 4 stars. Then it led to the end of the show where it was an Impact World Championship match. Sami Callihan defending against Rich Swann. You know, obviously Rich Swann did a promo backstage talking about like what it meant to him to be the world champion and stuff and get in this title match. The only thing I didn't like about it is you couldn't really hear it, which is like a big criticism is the sound production is piss poor sometimes on these shows. But this was great stuff. It made, you really felt the heat between these two. The story was, very good. The only thing I didn't like was what felt a little bit too much for me was Rich Swann kicking out of a cactus style power driver on the apron and then in the ring. That was ridiculous. At least like Sami Callihan kicked out of his finish and that made it somewhat alright, but I thought that was ridiculous that he kicked out of 2 power drivers, one on the apron and one in the ring. That was ridiculous. But Sami Callihan got the win with the cactus-style pile driver off the turnbuckles. The only thing I didn't like about this match is you never really were in disbelief that Sami Callihan was going to lose. they basically kind of didn't really do a good job of telling that story. You know, because they kept kind of plugging that like Sami Callihan was going to face Tessa Blanchard for the title. But I like that they do these. It gets Sami Callihan's like championship pedigree up because he's going out there and having these championship matches. Um, but it doesn't also make sense because if you watch the weekly TV shows, Rich Swann, you know, lost a gauntlet match that he couldn't even win and just got the title shot anyways. So that just kind of really doesn't make sense. But whatever, the match was still great. I gave it 4 stars. If I had to say which match I prefer, I probably would prefer the Big Hoss fight over this match. This match was great, but it just has a lot of like, um, what's it called? Um, just plot, like little logic plot holes that I don't really care for. But that was No Surrender. It was easily better than Turning Point. If we get more Impact Plus specials like this, I'm cool with them doing these because Turning Point was a dumpster fire. Um, this was a great show. I really enjoyed it. Um, the only thing I really can't think of anything I really did. The only thing I didn't enjoy was the Knockouts title match, and that's it. So I gave it like a B plus. I'm gonna give it like an 87 out of 100. Um, Now moving on to like the last portion of review I'm gonna talk about is Impact and BCW Motown Showdown, which was a Twitch special that they did. The Twitch specials actually aren't bad. You know, the quality is fairly good. I like that it's kind of something new that like no one else is really doing in professional wrestling, and I feel like Impact kind of struck gold with that. Um, they'll occasionally respond to comments and such. I feel like they should kind of do that a little bit more. Um, and I think Impact partnering up with Twitch really works because Twitch is typically like a gaming site. Um, and Impact Wrestling kind of found something there. It's a way for new people that don't have Impact Plus and don't have Access TV can kind of um, watch their shows, and I feel like that's something that's pretty smart. Uh, we had the commentary team again of Scott D'Amore and Josh Matthews. The pre-show was something you can only watch on Twitch. Um, And the pre-show matches really weren't bad. One of the main criticisms I have of this show is I'm someone that doesn't watch the Twitch specials. This was the first one I watched, so this could be on me. But I feel like they really need to do a better job of like introducing because they partnered up with an indie promotion for this show, and I really think they need to do a better job of introducing us to these characters, making us care about them, because um, it's just kind of guys going out there and having matches, and it just kind of feels like filler. We had the first match. It was Jackson Stone, Clayton Gaines, and Tyler Tavola versus Kins Ranson and Tony Gunn. The match was fine. Nothing wrong with it really. It's just like I said, the only one I really knew was Clayton Gaines, and that was really it. Tony Gunn's team got the win. I don't remember how. The person that really stood out to me was Jackson Stone. I really like his look. I hope they sign him. But yeah, 2 3/4, fine match. But like I said, really hard to get invested because you don't really know anybody in the match. Then we had Ali Akbar versus Nate Bott. Uh, really an unnecessary match. The match was really short. They only had like 5 minutes to really do anything. Nate Bott won, and it just was filler. 2 stars. Then we had the show. We had a Impact X Division Championship match. It was Ace Austin defending against Dez. I thought this was kind of a nice way to kind of tie in the feud between the Rascals and Ace Austin by Ace Austin having a match with one of them. Um, Ace Austin ended up winning with the fold, which I really like that move. It's like a running quick blockbuster. I think it's really cool. Um, the only thing this match was very good, 3 3/4 stars. The only thing I didn't like about it was there was a spot where it should have ended where Ace Austin did a double stomp right to the back of his neck. It was ridiculous that Dez kicked out of that. That was just way too much. Um, then we had Jamal Kin versus Larry D. This was good stuff. They validated Larry D's getting his contract by having him win with a right hand. I forget what the name of the punch. Um, and he beat Jamal King. Jamal King looked fine. I think this should have been more of a showcase though for Larry D. I really feel like he should have kind of come in there and kind of squashed him a little bit. But whatever. It's good stuff. 3 stars. Then we had a tag team match. It was Rohit Raju and Mahabali Shira versus Trey and Wentz. Pretty good stuff. Mahabali Shira and Rohit Raju win when Mahabali Shira hits the sky high on Wentz. Really didn't understand the finish. I get you want to build up the Daisy Hip squad, but Trey's the #1 contender for the X Division title. I really feel like he could have benefited a little bit more from a win, and you didn't necessarily have to beat Mahabali Shira. You could have beat Rohit Raju. So, yeah, the match still was pretty good. I give it 3.25 stars. Then we had Idris Abraham versus Nate Matson. Like I said, this was fine, but like I said, you really don't know who any of these guys are. They don't really do a good enough job. I'm telling you, this is where video packages and stuff really goes a long way. Idris Abraham, I remembered from the Impact X Division Cup that they did in 2017. I remember he came in and had a match, but you really hadn't seen much of him since. Idris Abraham won. I don't really have an issue with that. He's a younger talent. He should win. But like I said, just filler stuff, really. 2 3/4 though was fine. Then we had Madman Fulton versus Eddie Edwards. The match immediately gets thrown out when the Christ come out, and the Christ and Madman Fulton stop a Mudhole and Eddie Edwards. And then Rich Swann and Willie Mack run out. It gets turned into a 6-man. Everyone blows around ringside. Rich Swann hits an insecurity onto Jake Christ, and he falls, and then he hits a dive on everybody. And then it breaks into a 6-man tag where the heels get the heat for a long time on Rich Swann. Then Eddie Edwards gets the hot tag. They get the heat for a long time on him. Then Willie Mack gets the hot tag. And eventually Eddie Edwards hits the Boston Knee Party for the win. This match, though, lasted a long time. It was way too long. They really should have made this shorter. They really should have just made this a 6-man tag from the outset instead of just doing the thing where it was a singles match and then it gets turned to a 6-man tag. It would have saved a lot of time. But whatever. Really good stuff. I give it 3.5. Just the only big criticism is it just lasted a long time. Then we had a Knockouts tag match, which I really didn't want to see because I just saw a big 6-man tag. So I feel like they should have spread this out a little bit in the show. It was Taya Valkyrie and Rosemary with Johnny Bravo versus Havoc and Madison Rayne. This was obviously tying in the Impact No Surrender match. Madison Rayne tries to have everybody lay down, but that doesn't work. Eventually, Taya Valkyrie and Rosemary have some miscommunication, and it leads to Madison Rayne beating Rosemary and with a roll-up, the most devastating move in all of professional wrestling. 2 3/4 stars. It was going along fine, but the thing I didn't like about it is it just feels like 50-50 booking. Because you go from No Surrender when Rosemary just defeats Madison Rayne in a squash, and all of a sudden here she's beating her with a roll-up. And it just doesn't feel like anyone's really benefited, so I'm really just not a fan of that. Then we had the 2 featured matches of this show. One match I really cared about. It was Brian Cage versus Michael Elgin. Obviously, they have a lot of history with each other because Michael Elgin put Brian Cage on the shelf and kind of kept his Impact World Championship reign from, being anything of value. I really liked this match. It was great stuff. It was just 2 big men just throwing it out there, really giving it all they got. Michael Elgin won with the fluke roll-up. Afterwards, Brian Cage tries to get him to shake his hand in respect, but Michael Elgin refuses and walks away, and that was basically that. I really like this though. I really like the finish because this was the world of Whirly World because you really couldn't have any of these two lose. And I think it made sense for Michael Elgin to get the win just to kind of, you know, get him on a roll. And I really liked it. 4.25 stars was great stuff. Then we had the main event. It was a Impact World Championship street fight. Um, Sami Callihan defending against Rhino. Um, and yeah, Rhino immediately just hits a goal on Sami Callihan and he starts destroying him. They use a lot of weapons on each other, like a staple gun. Just Sami Callihan staple guns him repeatedly, and then eventually Rhino just staple guns him right in the crotch. Um, you had a cookie sheet get used, a baseball bat, and the World Championship itself, steel chairs, trash cans, but eventually Sami Callihan throws powder and hits into the face of Rhino and hits a low blow on him, and Sami Callihan wins and you know retained his title. Obviously makes sense. He's going into facing Tessa Blanchard. Same criticism. Really, you didn't really believe that Sami Callihan was going to lose at any point in time. But still, the match was great. I gave it 4 stars. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Um, and that was Impact Modown Showdown. Really good show. The only criticisms I had were the Knockouts tag, the 6-man tag going too long, and just having people on the show you don't really recognize. While the matches aren't bad, just not really introducing us to these characters, so it just makes the matches themselves feel like filler. So it's like a B. I'm gonna give it an 85 out of 100. It was a really good show, um, and yeah, um, that was basically that. Um, and I really, enjoyed all this stuff. Um, if the Impact Plus and Twitch specials are more like this, I'll definitely be checking them out a lot more. So I hope that's the case. Um, and now we're gonna go to Future Me, where he continues to, well, I should say, well, I continue to talk more about Impact Wrestling. So let's go to Future Me now. Okay, I'm back. Today is January 14th, 2020, 3:40 a.m. I know I'm doing this very late. Impact Hard to Kill has already happened. I have not seen the show yet, so I know nothing that happens. But um, this is as if it's live to me. But I'm going to go over everything that has gone on in Impact that I've seen from December 10th, 2019, all the way until Impact Wrestling Explosion, January 4th, 2020. Not really going to go through this in depthly, just going to go over, the stories that have happened and such. So, um, I'll start with immediately just a storyline that I really haven't cared much for. This Joey Ryan, Johnny Swinner storyline. They recently did a segment where they sent Joey Ryan to wrestlers court, and they had you know him be prosecuted for doing the dick spot, and he's being like sued by Johnny Swinner. You have Tommy Dreamer as the judge, and they had various wrestlers like D'Lo Brown, Kerry Hogan, Madison Rain, and other people talk about how much they didn't like it. So Joey Ryan tried to save himself by giving a speech saying that yeah, it's comical wrestling you guys like, but it's a way to entertain people and such. But Tommy Dreamer wasn't having it, so he was punished by having a match with AC Romero on the December 17th episode, and he ended up beating AC Romero, even though Johnny Swinner tried to interfere. So really didn't care much for that. They had AC Romero, this big guy, take the dick spot, and it was just ridiculous. So yeah, just really don't care for anything that Joey Ryan does. Um, we've got other things going on, like the continuation of
Susie's character, which I actually am pretty intrigued about. I think it's intriguing every week. You had, you know, Father James Mitchell try to recruit Susie, and he's manipulating her and trying to get her back on his side, along with Havoc. But Rosemary realizes this and is doing little things to remind Susie of what Havoc did to her when she was under the Sue Young gimmick and hung her by having a rope there, and Susie grabbed it and she had like a flashback of it, and then she was talking to Rosemary, and uh, you know, Father's Agent told her to stop, and Havoc attacked her. When she was choking Havoc, she had like a flashback of it, and she like let out this scream, but then went back to normal. So I think that's an intriguing storyline, and I'm assuming eventually it's gonna lead to like a match with Havoc and Rosemary, and Susie will get her memory back and go back to that gimmick, and yeah, it could be something good. So I think that storyline's intriguing. Um, we've had the storyline going on with the Daisy Hip Squad and Fallah Bahh. You know, Fallah Bahh had a match with Rogue Sin and beat him. Afterwards, the Daisy Hip Squad beat him down, and then he was saved by his friend TJP. And then it led to, on the December 17th edition, TJP beat Dago in a match, which kind of really didn't make much sense considering the fact that, you know, um, Dago was just in that elimination chase to get a shot at the, um, Impact World Championship, and he couldn't even beat TJP, so that was kind of a bit inconsistent. But, after TJP beat him, the Daisy Hip Squad came out and beat down Fallah Bahh and TJP. So maybe that's going to lead to a match. At Hard to Kill. They've been continuing the feud with Michael Elgin and Eddie Edwards, or at least started it. Michael Elgin, wants a shot at the Impact World Championship, so he wants Eddie Edwards to put um, his Call Your Shot trophy on the line, and he ended up stealing it backstage, so that was interesting. Um, we had the continuation of the X Division Championship storyline with Trey and Ace Austin. Pretty much all that happened with that was Ace Austin defeated Petey Williams in a match and then dedicated the win to his mom. And Trey came up and was upset about this and attacked him, and he ended up having to be held back by Reno Scum. So I thought that was interesting. It just really sucks the gimmick isn't very good. And I really wish they didn't kind of go away from this. That they didn't go away from the Eddie Edwards Ace Austin feud because I kind of enjoyed that. Um, but then continuing with stuff that's been going on in Impact, with um, the tag team championships. Rich Swann and Willie Mack competed in a tag team open. Also in it was the Christ, Dez and Wentz, and Reno Scum. And in the match, Willie Mack ended up getting injured, so Rich Swann had to go in alone and ended up winning with a roll-up. So they became the number one contenders to the North's Impact World Tag Team Championships, and it led to the North continuously trying to break up Rich Swann and Willie Mack by telling Willie Mack that Rich Swann's made to be a single star after his performance in the Elimination Challenge. So it led to a match later on between Rich Swann and Ethan Page, where Willie Mack attacked Ethan Page and got Rich Swann disqualified. So it looks like that plan might work. I kind of hope that isn't the case. As much as I would love to see, Willie Mack and Rich Swann be singles guys, I really enjoy them as a tag team. So we have to wait and see what happens there. Um, and then they blew off the feud between Rob Van Dam and Rhino. They had on the December 10th edition, they had a old school rules match with Tommy Dreamer as the special guest referee, and due to interference from Katie, which pretty much was just a hardcore match, due to the interference from Katie Forbes, Rob Van Dam ended up getting the win, which I actually liked. I think it makes sense. He's the new heel character, so you want to do something with him. So later on, when Brian Cage is being interviewed, just talking about his recent ups and downs in Impact Wrestling, Rob Van Dam and Katie Forbes make it out on the sofa and interrupt his interview. Then it led to the next week, the December 17th edition. RVD and Katie Forbes just being really rude to Brian Cage and saying that they have a match at Hard to Kill. And RVD talks about how this is a dream match, but it's not a dream match for him because Brian Cage has been stealing all of his moves anyways. And, Brian Cage comes out and tried to attack him, but he ended up getting low blowed by Katie Forbes, and then RVD beat him down, and he teased like he was going to go for the Van Daminator, but didn't do it, but just drop kicked the steel chair into his face, which is pretty cool. So, yeah, I'm actually interested in a feud between Rob Van Dam and Brian Cage. Then, meanwhile, Rhino transitioned to a feud with Moose after Moose had an impressive performance with AC Romero and defeated him in a match, which you should check out that match. That match was, great stuff. Moose was trying to give Rhino advice about how to be a multi-sport athlete, so Rhino gored him, and then later on in the show, I believe this was on the December 17th edition. Moose tried to attack Rhino, but he failed, which was funny, and it led to a brawl. So that was enjoyable. I believe they announced that match for Hard to Kill, so I'm interested to see Moose versus Rhino. The Knockouts Championship pictures continued. Really, not much has happened. We found out pretty much that ODB was added to the match, and it was turned into a triple threat match. And after Jordynne Grace defeated Tenille Dashwood, Taya Valkyrie tried to attack her, but Tenille Dashwood and Jordynne Grace fought her off. So she went backstage and recruited Madison Rayne and Kiera Hogan for help. And if they help her, she'll give both of them a Knockouts Championship opportunity. So I could see, them laying out ODB and Jordynne Grace on the Go Home episode. Then, I think that covers just about everything except for the next, the main event angles, which is pretty much the situation going on with the Impact World Championship picture. I know there's been, recent news stories about the status of Tessa Blanchard. I'm going to talk about that later on in the video. But they did a Pick Your Poison matches where Sami Callihan could pick Tessa's opponent and Tessa could pick Sami's. Sami picked Madman Fulton, and he pretty much just destroyed her. When Tessa Blanchard was making a comeback, the Christ came out, and pretty much they all beat down Tessa Blanchard, and Ken Shamrock ran out Tessa's pick for Sami's opponent. He made the save, and they had a face-off between Madman Fulton and Ken Shamrock, but Sami Callihan sent him backstage, and during Sami Callihan's match with Ken Shamrock, Madman Fulton helped Sami Callihan win, and pretty much Madman Fulton just destroyed Ken Shamrock, so that might lead to a match at Hard to Kill, which I would like to see, or maybe a future match on Impact. Then, actually, no, it is a match at Hard to Kill, I think they already announced it. Then on this December 17th edition, Sami Callihan was going to expose the truth about Tessa Blanchard, which obviously, what he said wasn't nearly as bad as what happened recently with Tessa Blanchard, where he said pretty much that he's going to treat Tessa Blanchard just like everybody else and how she's a spoiled brat. But then Tessa Blanchard ran out and she got attacked from behind by Madman Fulton, and it led to the brawl between Ken Shamrock and Madman Fulton. But then Tessa Blanchard and Sami Callihan fought backstage and it had to be broken up. I really liked how they did that. And that's everything that's been kind of going on with Impact Wrestling, with at least um, those shows. Um, Very interesting stuff. I like how they're really pushing the storylines for Hard to Kill so far. Um, then we have the Explosion episode. I'll just run through them real quick. We have the um, December 14th edition, which was commentated by Josh Matthews and Scott D'Amore. Um, Fallah Bahh beat Dave Price. It was a fairly alright match. He was ringside with Eric McLean. We had Around the Ring with Rhino, where we got to know a little bit about Rhino's backstory. It showed a match from TNA Final Resolution 2011 between Kurt Angle and James Storm. Then we had the December 21st edition. El Reverso defeated Tyler Turva. That match was solid. And then we had Around the Ring with Rohit Raju. That was an interesting listen. And then it showed a match from TNA Final Resolution 2012 between Christopher Daniels and AJ Styles. Then we had the December 28th edition. Willie Mack beat Bobby Wayward. That was solid. And then we had Around the Ring with Willie Mack. That was really, really cool listen. I really liked that one. Then we had TNA Final Resolution 2013. It showed that the match, the Dixieland match between Magnus and Jeff Hardy. And then it showed the January 4th edition. We had Mackintosh, I think is how you say that, and Buster Jackson defeat Nikos Ricos, who I believe we've seen on NXT UK before, and Gigolo Justin. That match was kind of filler. They didn't really do a good enough job of really introducing you to the characters, so whatever. We had Around the Ring with Josh Alexander, which was also an interesting listen, and then it showed a match from TNA Genesis 2009 between Kurt Angle and Jeff Jarrett. And then the last two Impact for the Go Home edition were just basically just kind of looking back on the year of 2019, which was hosted by Scott D'Amore and Josh Matthews. Throughout the show, they were asking questions. Since Christmas was that week, they asked Christmas-themed questions, and then that was on the December 28th edition, and then on the January 4th edition, they asked New Year's Day related questions. But they showed past matches. I did watch them. I did star ratings for them. I plan on going at some point going through some past Impact stuff and reviewing those. So I'm not going to go fully in depth into it, but I'll just say the star ratings that I gave. It showed a match from Homecoming, the Falls Count Anywhere match between Moose and Eddie Edwards. That match was great. I gave it 4.25. It showed the X Division ladder match at Bound for Glory, I believe. I gave that match 4.25 stars as well. That's the one that when Ace Austin won the championship. It showed the Lucha Bros versus LAX, Santana and Ortiz from Homecoming. I gave that match 4.75 stars. It showed Willie Mack versus Trey from Impact Wrestling, August 13th, 2019. That match was very good. I gave it 3.75 stars. It showed Michael Elgin versus Marufuji from Bound for Glory. That match was great. I gave that 4.5 stars. And then it showed and then that was pretty much it. And then other matches the matches that they showed from January 4th was the Elimination Challenge from Impact Wrestling, November 19th, 2019. I gave that match 4.75 stars. The Tag Team Championship match between the North and Eddie Edwards and Marufuji from Impact Wrestling, November 12th, 2019. I gave that match 4 stars. That was great. The match from Rebellion between Tessa Blanchard and Gail Kim. That match was great. I gave that 4.5 stars. And then that's all the matches they really showed. They also did some year-end awards. I'll go through those too real quick. for Knockout of the Year, I mean, I can't really comment whether they should have won it or not because I really didn't start watching Impact Wrestling until like late October. So until they kind of went to Access TV, so I can't really say whether these wrestlers should have won them or not. So I'm just gonna say the winners. Um, Knockout of the Year went to Taya Valkyrie. Um, One to watch out for in 2020 went to Willie Mack, which I might agree with that one. Um, X Division Star of the Year went to Rich Swann, and Move of the Year went to the Magnum by Tessa Blanchard, and Moment of the Year went to Sami Callihan winning the World Championship on Access TV's debut. Everyone kind of did like little promos talk after they won the awards, and um, then um, we had Tag Team of the Year went to the North. Wrestler of the Year went to Tessa Blanchard, which is I think the first time that a woman won that award, so that was pretty cool. And then Match of the Year went to Tessa Blanchard versus Sami Callihan at Slammiversary 25. That match is a great match. It's 4 3/4 stars, but I think it's a great match not just for the in-win work, obviously, but for you know what it meant to the company and stuff. And yeah, that's everything that happened recently with um, Impact Wrestling from December 10th to January 4th. Um, and I'm not done yet because I have more content to do. I don't know if I'm going to use the time machine now, but I'll be back in a couple minutes to talk about more Impact Wrestling stuff. Okay, so I decided to use the time machine because if I invented time travel, I might as well get the most usage I can out of it. So why not use it? Um, so right now it's January 14th, 2020, and it's 4:12 p.m. And before I review the most recent edition, at least at the time of I'm recording this part of the video, of Impact Wrestling and Explosion, um, I figured I would put a final close of TNA slash GFW slash Impact Wrestling in the 2010s decade because recently fans were able to vote on what they thought was the best matches, like the top 10 matches from the 2010 decade of Impact Wrestling. Um, and I went back and watched all the matches, so I'm going to say what they were. I'm not going to review any of these matches if I ever do like future retro wrestling review series or just reviews of these shows. I'll review them then, but I'll just say what they were in the star rating form and maybe say kind of what my version of the top 10 list would be. So I'm going to go through it. So, starting at number 10 from Impact Rebellion 2019, we had a Full Metal Mayhem match for the Impact World Tag Team Championships. Impact World Tag Team Champions LAX being Santana and Ortiz versus the Lucha Bros. Number 9 was from TNA Lockdown 2010, a steel cage match, Kurt Angle versus Ken Anderson. Number 8 was from TNA Slammiversary 2013, Last Knockout Standing match, Gail Kim versus Taryn Terrell. Number 7 was from TNA Destination X 2012, TNA World Heavyweight Championship match, TNA World Heavyweight Champion Bobby Roode versus Austin Aries. Number 6 was from Impact Wrestling Slammiversary 2019, Tessa Blanchard versus Sami Callihan. And then number 5 was from Impact Wrestling Slammiversary 2018, a mask versus hair match, Sami Callihan's hair versus Pentagon Jr.'s mask. Then number 4 was from TNA October Impact Wrestling October 8th, 2014. Full Metal Mayhem match for the TNA World Tag Team Championships. TNA World Tag Team Champions, the Wolves versus Team 3D versus the Hardys. Number 3 was from TNA August 12th, 2010. A match 5 in the best of 5 series between, you know, Motor City Machine Guns and Beer Money in a 2 out of 3 falls match for the TNA World Tag Team Championships, where Motor City Machine Guns were defending the championships. Number 2 was from TNA Impact Wrestling, January 4th, 2010. TNA World Championship match, TNA World Champion AJ Styles versus Kurt Angle. And number 1 was, I don't remember the date, but it's easy to find, so I don't really need to say it. It's the Final Deletion. Matt Hardy, or Broken Matt Hardy versus Jeff Hardy. I'll look up the date real quick. I've been retaking this stuff, and this is like an easy one I can look up. I think it's from like July 6th, July 7th, 2016. And yeah, all these matches, all great matches in their own ways. I really enjoy all of them. And I'll go through my star ratings for each match. So for the Full Metal Mayhem match from Impact Rebellion, I gave that 4 3/4 stars. That was a great match. The Steel Cage match, I gave that also 4 3/4 stars. The last Knockout Standing match, I gave 4.5 stars. The World Championship match from TNA Destination X 2012, I gave that 4.5 stars. Tessa Blanchard versus Sami Callihan, I gave that 4 3/4 stars. The Mask versus Hair match, I gave that 4 3/4 stars. The Full Metal Mayhem match between Team 3D, the Hardys, and the Wolves, I gave that 4 3/4 stars. The 2 out of 3 Falls match, I gave that 4 3/4 stars. The World Championship match between AJ Styles and Kurt Angle, I gave that 4 3/4 stars. And Final Deletion, I gave 5 stars. So, if I was to make a list, about about what my top 10 would be, I do largely agree with this list. I would move down though the last Knockout Standing match to number 10, and probably switch Lucha Bros versus LAX in that spot. Really, everything else I kind of largely agree with. I might move, maybe if I'm making a top. So number 10 probably is the last Knockout Standing match. Probably number 5 is the Mask versus Hair match, or number 9 is the Mask versus Hair match. Number 8 is actually no, I've decided. So number 10 is the last Knockout Standing match. Number 9 is the World Championship match from Destination X. So that's probably my number 9. Number 8 is, yeah, so hold on, I'm going to switch these around. I thought I'd be able to do this without, switching it around. So I'm just going to make this decision now. I thought, I forgot that I was going to do this post. So, number 10 for me is the last Knockout Standing match. And then number 9 is the World Championship match from Destination X. Number 8 is, I'm just deciding, probably the tag title match between the Lucha Bros and LAX. And then number 7 is the Mask versus Hair match. and then I would say number 6 is the cage match, and then number 5 is Tessa versus Sami Callihan, and then no, I would say number 5 is the Full Metal. Actually, I've decided. Hold on, give me a second. Okay, so this is my final list. I know I should have had this prepared ahead of time, but you know. So number 10 is the last Knockouts Championship match. Number 9 is the World Championship match from Destination X 2012. Number 8 is the Full Metal Mayhem match between the Lucha Bros and LAX. Number 7 is the Full Metal Mayhem match between Team 3D, the Hardys, and the Wolves. Number 6 is Sami Callihan versus Pentagon Jr. Mask versus Hair match. Number 7 is number 5 is the Steel Cage match. Number 4 is Tessa Blanchard versus Sami Callihan, and then number 3 all the way up to 1 stays the same pretty much. The 2 out of 3 falls match is number 3. The World Championship match between AJ Styles and Kurt Angle is number 2, and number 1 is Final Deletion. So that's my list. Like I said, you don't necessarily have to agree with it, but that's the list that I came up with. So I thought I could be able to actually make the list actually on here without any problems, but I guess I couldn't. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I might not use the time machine for this next cut, but I'll let you know. Obviously, you'll know when you see it. But I'll be back in a few to review at least at the time of this recording, the most recent episodes of Impact Wrestling and Impact Explosion. Okay, so I decided to use the time machine because quite a bit of time has happened since I did the last take. Right now it's January 15th, 2020, and it's 1:23 a.m. And I'm just pretty much just gonna wrap up this video pretty much. I just have a few more things I want to talk about. So you can't really see me too well, but I just want to get this done at this point. So now I'm going to review, since now that this is recorded later, I'm not going to review this week's Impact Wrestling. I'm going to review Impact Wrestling from January 7th, 2020, and Impact Explosion from January 11th, 2020. So pretty much the go-home editions of Impact Wrestling before Hard to Kill. Not going to go in depth, just going to talk about them. So, John Callis and Josh Matthews in commentary for the Impact Wrestling show for January 7th, 2020. It kicked right off with a brawl between Eddie Edwards and Michael Elgin. And I actually kind of like that it kicked right off with that, because it made it feel like, that anything can happen before the show even comes on the air. So that part I liked. Then Eddie Edwards got on the mic and didn't want to wait to Hard to Kill. He wanted to have a match with Michael Elgin now, so they brawled some more. And they went into the ring, just go watch the match for yourself, and they had this, very good match. Michael Elgin ended up picking up the win with the Elgin Bomb. I just really didn't understand why they did the match on Impact when they literally are having a match at the pay-per-view. It's just one of those things I really don't like. That wrestling companies do sometimes. Like, why bother now paying for the match, at Hard to Kill, if you're literally just going to give us the match on Impact Wrestling anyways. I'm just not really a fan of that. Because of this win, though, we found out that at Hard to Kill, Michael Elgin and Eddie Edwards' match now is for Eddie Edwards' Call Your Shot Gauntlet Trophy. So whoever wins would get a title match. So I guess they at least followed through with Michael Elgin winning, but I just feel like we could have gotten to a different point. Like maybe they just get into a fight, and Eddie Edwards says that he wants to fight him right now. And Michael Elgin just says no, I only fight, I fight on my terms. But if you really want to get at me so bad this Sunday, put your gauntlet thing on the line or something like that. We did have build up for the Impact World Tag Team Championship match between the North and Rich Swann and Willie Mack. It just kind of showed everything kind of leading to that point. The only real new thing we got out of it is Rich Swann was backstage, and Willie Willie Mack tries to break them up as a tag team, and says that they should go solo because Willie Mack feels like that he's holding him back, and because of his leg injury, he doesn't feel like he's going to be ready for the match at Hard to Kill. And Rich Swann motivates him, saying that, when I was having issues, I called you, and we make a good tag team. And he tells him Willie Mack not to put himself down. So I liked that. I kind of hope they win the championships. Then we had the Daisy Hip Squad with Gama Sin versus TJP, Fallah Bahh, and Daga. I kind of figured this would happen. That was a decent 6-man tag. The Daisy Hip Squad won when Mahabali Shira hit the sky high on TJP for the win. I was actually fine with the Daisy Hip Squad winning. Um, the gimmick isn't my thing. It's not my cup of tea. But I think the talent of the wrestlers actually outshines the gimmick. I'm not a huge fan of Mahabali Shira. I just think all that he is that he looks big and that's it. So I don't really think he's very talented. But I think Rohit Raju is very talented. I think, honestly, you could take him and put him in the cruiserweight division in NXT if he fits the weight limit, or he could just be like a future North American champion contender. That's how good I think he is. Um, Rajin is kind of I haven't really seen enough of him. He seems fine, but I don't think it's someone that he just kind of he's not someone that really stands out to me. But Rohit Raju, he's awesome. I think he's um, would have huge potential. I honestly think that he should be in the X division. Um, but the Daisy Hip squad did need to get a win. They needed to get a win as a group. I don't think they've really won in a while. Um, they showed more hype for the Impact World Championship match. They showed this awesome 10-minute video of Sami Callihan and Ted Joni, um, you know, and like the whole feud pretty much. They showed like they talk about their childhood, talk about like their background, which is quite nice. They talked about kind of like Intergender Wrestling, and they talked about the match at Slammiversary. And they talked about like what it would mean for them to win this match and what the stakes are this time. And I really liked it. Just go watch it. They even did a promo earlier in the show with all talking about how um, you know they were all gonna win their matches, and the Christ were upset though that they didn't get the job done and win the tag title match or number one contenders match. So there you go. Um, we also had build up package and hype stuff for the Impact X Division Championship match. They didn't do anything more to build up to it, but I don't really think you really needed to do anything more. They continued the feud between Johnny Swinner and Joey Ryan. Johnny Swinner tried to drug Joey Ryan by putting some pills in his water, but he got caught by Tommy Dreamer, and he forces him to drink the drink because he doesn't like what he did, and I thought that was funny. I liked Dreamer's delivery. It just doesn't really make any sense because Dreamer was kind of on his side with wrestling court, but whatever. Later on, we found them all drugged out, and um, Joey Ryan and Petey Williams were talking, and Joey Ryan said that they're gonna have a match on the next episode, and he hopes that he'll wake up before then. So there you go. I hope they just have a match, and whoever wins, it's the end of the feud because I really haven't been that big of a fan of this. Um, Father James Mitchell, Havoc, and Susie are backstage, and Father James Mitchell wants Susie to stay backstage. So we have a match between Havoc and Rosemary. Uh, Father James Mitchell had also locked Susie in a closet, but we found out I guess she picked the lock to get out, and she comes out and starts waving. She gets on commentary and doesn't really know who anybody is and what anything is, and Father James Mitchell gets pissed at her. Uh, this leads to a distraction, um, but eventually Havoc just beats Rosemary with a tombstone, but um, they all tie in more to the um, Susie character. Like anytime anyone took a bump in the ring, um, she kind of would like um have memories of what her old gimmick was and such. So Father James Mitchell would cover her eyes. Um, you know, um, I thought this was kind of like the weaker point. This is kind of turning me off of the angle a little bit because I feel like that they're kind of not going the direction I think they should be going, where it's just Susie playing mind games with them, and um, it leads to a match between Havoc and Su Yun when she would turn into that gimmick again. Um, but I feel like they're just kind of, you know, really tiptoeing around with it. I think it's gonna be kind of something stupid, but we'll see. Um, we had a knockouts tag, 6-woman tag. Um, it was Kerry Hogan, Madison Rain, and Tyler Valkyrie with Johnny Bravo versus Tenille Dashwood, Jordan Grace, and ODB. I really wasn't a fan of this, but I get what they were trying to do here. They were trying to build to the Knockouts Championship match at Hard to Kill, but ODB defeated Tyler Valkyrie with the BAM. Um, they did something really weird where they had Jordan Grace and ODB had a falling out because Jordan Grace tried to get the victory and ODB like got mad at her and threw her out of the ring. But it really didn't make any sense though why Jordan Grace would be pissed because ODB was the legal woman anyways. So I don't know what she was trying to do there. So that was weird. Um, and yeah, pretty much that was that. Um, but I'm assuming though they're gonna still spin it though since Kerry Hogan and Madison Rain agreed to team up with her. Either they're gonna help her win or whatnot. I don't really know yet. Then it led to the main event tag team match. It was Rob Van Dam and Moose with Katie Forbes ringside versus Rhino and Brian Cage. Earlier in the show, Moose and Rob Van Dam wanted to make sure. Well, Moose wanted to make sure he was good at RVD because they've had a history before, but RVD didn't remember it, which was great. Um, but it led to Moose losing via a gore and then the discus clothesline, um, which was fine. It was fine with the face going over because I expect the heels to go over at Hard to Kill, so that was fine. Then um, they do a closing video package, just hyping up all the matches at Hard to Kill, and I really like how they did that. That was very well made, and that was Impact. I thought Impact was a good show. I thought they did enough to build to Impact Hard to Kill. I kind of wish we had a little bit more of a go home show um, than what we had, but I still thought it was good. I'll give it a B minus, and I'll give it an 81 out of 100. Um, then we had Explosion, which was commentated by Josh Matthews. The only match we really had was Trey versus Sean Donovan, and Trey just beat him fairly easily. Um, Impact Explosion's kind of like WWE's version of main event. The real reason to watch this is not really for the match that they show on it, but for the around the ring segments because it's really cool to kind of see like the background of the Impact superstars. Because we got one for Ethan Page and it was really funny. Tessa Blanchard came up and was handing out cookies to everyone. It was quite funny and it was quite fun. And they also show I like the watching the throwback matches that they show on the show. On this one, they showed a match from TNA Genesis 2010, which was also the flashback moment on Impact between AJ Styles and Kurt Angle. So there you go. And that's but Impact Explosion was an average show, C minus 72 out of 100. So there you go. Um, it's a 72 just because of around the ring. So and we got to see D'Lo Brown. I like seeing D'Lo Brown. So yeah, that was that. Um, before though, um, you know, I sign off. There's a couple more impact related things I want to talk about. All right, so this time I didn't use the time machine because only like a few minutes have really gone by since I did the last take, so I decided not to use it this time. Um, so I just want to do some predictions. But first, before I do that, I gotta talk about a news thing that's happened at like the worst possible time for Impact Wrestling. So Tessa Blanchard has been quite a busy person on Twitter lately. Um, recently, um, on January 11th, which was Saturday, at 1:04 p.m., she tweeted, "Hey, woman, try supporting one another. Cool things happen." So I'm assuming what happened is people, I guess, are against her fighting for the Impact World Championship, at Hard to Kill. So she sent out that tweet, and she's gotten quite a bit of backlash from it. Um, Allison Kay, who's known as Sienna on Twitter, responded on the same day. I don't know the time because it doesn't say it here, but she wrote, "Remember when you spat in a black woman's face and called her the N word in Japan? Was that you supported woman? The audacity of this tweet." And then Chelsea Green also said, "You've consistently put down, bullied, and belittled countless female coworkers, including me. Is that support?" And then Princella Princella, I don't know if that's how to say that, Kelly also responded, "Remember publicity putting me down on Twitter last year for something that didn't involve you whatsoever, then continuing to drag my name to other people for it? Pepper Ridge Farm remembers. You should probably delete this tweet." Um, but there's more to this. You know, um, more. Tessa Blanchard has responded to this, um, and you know, Tessa Blanchard said, "I've never been anything but kind to you," and she said this at 2:26 p.m. on the same day. And she responded to Chelsea Green, "I've never been anything but kind to you. I've dealt with mean girls since I started. Not saying I'm a saint. Hell, I've had my ups and downs, and I've made silly decisions. Such is life. You have zero merit in your comments. Instead, putting me down here for a little clout. You got my number." And then obviously she did twitter.com/I'm Toshi Green. And then she continued responding by saying, "Not true. That's my statement and the most attention I'll give it because of how actually ridiculous it is." Um, and then Moose responded to the situation. Um, "I guess you and at I'm Chelsea Green are absolute angels with a clean past. The timing of these tweets from you guys shows a lot about your characters." And there's been, um, you know, more talk about this um, situation. Yeah, it really hasn't been good. Big Swole responded to it. Um, and this is what Big Swole um, had to say. "So um, since we telling stories, Big Swole's turn. I won't speak on all the other stories about the one about La Rosa, who is the person that Allison Kay referenced in her tweet. I know personally. This past year at WrestleCade, I spoke to her about this and about hashing it out with Tessa. I've spoken to Tessa as well after talking with La Rosa, and I decided it needed to be dealt with. A conversation needed to happen because this was getting intense over the years. As a black woman, this sickened me that this happened to a friend of mine. We have been dealing with this since it happened. It's just now finding light on social media. People are entitled to deal with this how they want. I just want the world to know the last part of the story. And then she was just responding to like fans and stuff on Twitter. I'm not really gonna go over those. Um, and then I don't really want to. There's probably more to the story, but that's all I want to read for it because other things could spoil How to Kill, and I don't really want that to happen. But these reports were coming out before How to Kill, and I just wanted to address this situation. So it's really tough to me to address the situation because even though I could say, well, a lot of women are coming forward, we really don't have any evidence that this has really happened or not. We haven't really heard from the person yet, at least, the updated information that I see. And, um, yeah, it's just really tough. But, I have heard stuff, though, that Tessa Blanchard's personal and how she acts has led to her not being signed by wrestling promotions like Stardom and WWE. So, yeah, this is kind of one of those tough things. And this really sucks for Impact Wrestling. I kind of feel bad for them because this was going to be a chance for kind of Impact Wrestling to really get off the ground because now they're on Access TV and they really need that like one thing that makes Impact must see. And Tessa Blanchard winning that World Championship could be that must see thing, and it was going to get them talked about. But now it's going to get them not talked about for the right reasons because of all the stuff going on with Tessa Blanchard. Um, it's one of those things where it's Don Callis' fault for not having this information before he signed Tessa Blanchard because I know he was responsible for signing her. It's also one of those things where Tessa Blanchard kind of should have kept her mouth quiet on Twitter. This is why professional wrestlers should do that because now this story is seeing the light of day because of Tessa Blanchard's tweet. Um, so it's a lot of things, and it's questionable whether or not Tessa Blanchard now is even going to end up winning the world championship because of tweets like that. So really tough to know what happens, but it's a really delicate situation. Um, and this is like the worst possible time. And I really feel bad for Impact Wrestling because, um, you know, as much a laugh as people have given Impact Wrestling throughout the years, they're actually finally starting to get their footing again. And, they're on Access TV, a nice network for wrestling, because that's where New Japan was, that's where WOW is, that's where I think other wrestling companies, are. And, this is Impact Wrestling's actually getting better in the ring, but they needed that one thing for them to get themselves talked about, and this could have been it. And now it seems like that it's just gonna all kind of explode up in Impact Wrestling's face. So, um, is there gonna have to be consequences for Tessa Blanchard? It's really tough to say, but it's really tough to say though because like I said, we don't really necessarily know if this story is true. Um, because this could just be people talking. Like, I feel like we need to hear it from the person that got spat out and stuff. Um, but also it's not just that story though, but the Chelsea Green situation and how Tessa Blanchard acts. So yeah, it's definitely interesting. Um, and it'll be interesting to see how this factors into How to Kill. All right, so now I'm going to give my predictions for the Impact Wrestling shows that took place over this past weekend, and then I'll pretty much wrap this video up. I'm gonna start first with Friday's Impact Plus special, which was Bash at the Brewery 2. I don't know how good that show is gonna be. Obviously, it's just an Impact Plus special. I have a feeling these things are gonna be hit or miss because No Surrender, his Turning Point sucked, and then No Surrender was a lot better. So we have to wait and see. But I'm just gonna quickly do my predictions for it. Um, we have Rhino versus Mahabali Shira. I'm gonna say Rhino wins that because he's having a match at How to Kill. I think Rhino should get full momentum for that. We have Falaba versus Congo Khan. Um, I'll say Falaba wins. I like Falaba. We have the North versus um, Trey and Dez. I'll say the North wins, so that way they can build momentum going into their Impact World Tag Team Championship match at Hard to Kill. We have Ace Austin versus Wentz. I think Ace Austin will win that. I think what's going to happen is Ace Austin's just going to run through all the radicals, which I think is what should happen. We have Michael Elgin versus Joey Ryan. I think that's an easy win for Michael Elgin, mainly because I don't want Joey Ryan to win. I really hope he doesn't take the dick spot, but we'll see. We have Taya Valkyrie versus Jordan Grace. It doesn't say it's for the championship, but with that being the case, since it's not for the title, I'll say Jordan Grace wins. I think Jordan Grace can use this to gain momentum going into Impact Hard to Kill. We have first time ever Rob Van Dam versus Eddie Edwards. This is really a tough one to call because they both need the wins if they have big matches. But I'm going to say Eddie Edwards wins by disqualification. I think RVD is going to take him out with a chair. So that way both guys can be protected. And then we have an 8-person elimination tag team match. It's Sami Callihan and OBE versus Tessa Blanchard, Brian Cage, Rich Swann, and Willie Mack. I'm going to say OBE wins. Just so that way it can be another way that OBD sticks it to Tessa Blanchard and Sami Callihan can continue to stack the deck against Tessa Blanchard. So I think OBE will win that. And then we have Impact Hard to Kill. I'll repeat my picks too. So I predict Rhino to beat Sheila, Fallah Bahh to beat Congo Khan, the North to beat Dez and Wentz, the North to beat Dez and Trey, Ace Austin to beat Wentz, Michael Elgin to beat Joey Ryan, Jordan Grace to beat Taya Valkyrie, Eddie Edwards to beat OBD by disqualification, and OVE to win the elimination tag. So now I'm going to go through Impact Hard to Kill. I have to do this off the top of my head because I can't look up the code because it will be super spoilery. We have the Spear versus the Gore, Moose versus Rhino. I think that's an easy win for Moose. I really don't think Rhino benefits at all from this win. I think this is just a way to put Moose over, and I think that's exactly what it should be. And then we have Rob Van Dam versus Brian Cage. This one's really tough to call because I think they both should need the win. Brian Cage has had a lot of losses lately with losing his world championship and then losing the rematch and then losing the elimination challenge. But then you have RVD who just recently turned heel. So I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say Rob Van Dam gets the win. Because I really like RVD's new heel character and I think he would benefit quite nicely from that win. I could see Katie Forbes helping him win too. We have for the Call Your Shot Gauntlet, Michael Elgin versus Eddie Edwards. I'm going to say Eddie Edwards wins that. Michael Elgin has had Eddie Edwards' number going into the show, and I don't think they're going to take the Call Your Shot Gauntlet off of him, so I'm going to say Eddie Edwards wins. Then, moving on to the title matches. Oh, no, actually not yet. Then we have Ken Shamrock versus Madman Fulton. I think Madman Fulton should win that. I think they should really put him over as a huge monster against Ken Shamrock. Like I said, Ken Shamrock doesn't need to win that match either. I feel like that should just be a showcase for Madman Fulton. Then we have the title matches. We have the X Division championship match. X Division champion Ace Austin versus Trey. I think Ace Austin should retain the championship. I don't really want to see Trey win because that's going to lead to a lot of cringy segments with the Rascals, and I'm really not a fan of those. And I think Ace Austin's doing pretty well with the X Division Championship. He's having solid matches. I really like his character, and I think it should build to a match between Ace Austin and Eddie Edwards for the X Division title. I think we need to go in that direction. Then we have a triple threat match for the Knockouts Championship. ODB versus Jordan Grace versus Taya Valkyrie. Taya Valkyrie has had the title for a while. She's the longest reigning Knockouts champion, so she really doesn't need to hold this title anymore. However, I think if she is going to lose the championship, she should lose it one-on-one. So I'm going to say that Taya Valkyrie wins, and as for who takes the fall, I think ODB should take the fall because it's going to hurt her the least because she's an established name. I could see Madison Rayne and Kiera Hogan coming out and helping her, and that's gets them the title match that they want. Then we have the Impact World Tag Team Championship match. Impact World Tag Team Champions, The North versus Rich Swann and Willie Mack. I think they're going to give it to Rich Swann and Willie Mack. I think they're going to become the new Impact World Tag Team Champions. I think that would be awesome if they hold the titles. I really like that tag team, and I don't really know who else could dethrone the North for the tag team titles. And I think they could just be a filler team anyways, because I think what should happen is eventually all members of OVE should hold all the belts, and or at least have a title, and you could really do that with the Christs or the Chris. I forget how to say their name now. And have them beat Rich Swann and Willie Mack for the tag titles. So I'm going to say the Rich Swann and Willie Mack become the new champions. Then we have the main event. It's an intergender match for the Impact World Championship. Impact World Champion Sami Callihan versus Tessa Blanchard. So now this is a tough one to call because of the Tessa Blanchard reports. Because I was all down for Tessa Blanchard becoming the new Impact World Champion. But now these accusations, now these Tessa Blanchard story and stuff has happened. So I think it could lead to Impact, getting cold feet because it's now going to be bad publicity because of, Tessa Blanchard's backstory. So that's really a tough one to call. I think because of this now, I think they're going to give the win to Sami Callihan. I think, Sami Callihan's going to retain the title now, and that's why I'm also calling for a tag title change, which really sucks because the story really fits Tessa winning, but, I just think it would still be a hell of a moment, but I just don't think it's going to be well received. It's going to make Impact look really bad that they're giving it to Tessa, even though all this bad, all these accusations are gotten brought out. So I think Sami Callihan retains championship. And that's my predictions. I'll repeat them real quick. So I predict that Moose is going to beat Rhino. Rob Van Dam's going to beat Brian Cage. Eddie Edwards is going to beat Michael Elgin. Madman Fulton is going to beat Ken Shamrock. The North are going to retain their tag team championship. No. Rich Swann and Willie Mack are going to become the new tag team champions. Let me say that again. Rich Swann and Willie Mack are going to become the new tag team champions. Taya Valkyrie is going to retain her Knockouts championship by pinning ODB. Ace Austin is going to retain his X Division championship, and Sami Callihan is going to retain his World Championship. So those are my predictions. I hope you guys enjoyed them. And yeah, there you go. And that's pretty much the end of this video. You're probably not going to see this video until later today because I'm going to edit it. And I don't really feel like editing it right now because it's 2 o'clock in the morning. And I'm really sorry you're seeing this video like after the pay-per-view and stuff, but I just got so busy and stuff like that. I'm going to try to catch up on all of my wrestling stuff this, over the weekend and stuff. Because I have to watch, Bash at the Brewery. I have to watch the Twitch special, and I have to watch Hard to Kill for Impact, and then I have like a few episodes of NWA to watch. I have to watch, Raw, NXT UK, Takeover, and then probably the weekly episode, and then the same thing. I have to watch NXT. So I have a lot of wrestling to watch. It just feels like I just can never seem to catch up because there's so much wrestling on, and yeah, it's just been busy lately, but I'm going to try to make sure I catch up this weekend. But thank you guys for watching. Please make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe if you haven't yet. Make sure you guys share this video, and then make sure you guys click on the bell so that way every time I upload a video, you guys get the notifications for it. I'm going to try to be on somewhat of a schedule when it comes to these videos. And make sure you guys do the same thing for my CM Brothers and On the Talking Native YouTube channels. And that's pretty much it, guys. Talk to you later.